them pearls. Here we go. Another topic. And this topic today is called living behind the shade. Now, we are all very much familiar with the slang term throwing shade. And you know how that feels, and you know if you've done it, what that feels like and what you're doing. So I had this thought that if we fall behind the shade of a conversation or something that's been cast upon us, then it can conjure up a great deal of disbelief within ourselves. And then in turn, we can be the worst shade giver to our own self, and you know how that can happen, being your worst critic. We're hearing someone's sarcastic remark, remembering an old judgment, mistakes that leave us living behind the shade. And sometimes you don't even notice the subtleness of it all. But it can show up in the way of your being and the way you see yourself in the mirror, how you walk into a room. So the question is, what do you do when you've been shaded? Like that, right? Well, not much if you don't know who you are. And if you don't have self-confidence. Yet, if you do know who you are and your direction, then, and you have that clear vision of yourself, then you're off to a great start. But how do you get there? Well, in my experience, the way I got there is because I remember I did the self-work, the commitment that I had to working on myself and becoming my best self, that it's something that's deep down inside of us anyway, and you start reminding yourself of who you are. You start seeing yourself for the power that you have within. No matter what you may think, we are all superheroes. And speaking of superheroes, have you ever thought about every superhero that you know? In the beginning, they didn't know who they were. They had no idea who they were. They didn't know they had even a superpower. So even with people connecting with them and telling them how amazing they were, they still didn't believe it. Even if they saw the evidence of how powerful they were, they didn't believe it. It would take a series of things for them to understand that they had the superpower. Well, I am suggesting we are superheroes and that we have been gifted from God Almighty, the universe, the goddess of life, whatever you want to call it. We have been gifted. It is time for us to remember who we are. Yes, you are unique and divine. And that is what's so exciting, is that we are unique and divine. We get the experience to go into that rooted place that's deep down inside of us, that's just waiting to blossom and bring it out. Step away from behind the shade. Radiate, shine. Come on now, you can do this. Believe in your possibilities because they're there. Yes. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm grateful for the shade. The shade comes and shows up as a way of reinforcing my belief in me. And that's okay, and I'm good with that. And I can stand very firmly when the fear of shade starts to come up in my mind and in my spirit. And I can say, no, this is not happening. I believe in myself. I know who I am. I know what I'm capable of. I do not have to succumb to the shade. And when somebody shades you, you can brush that off because it's not even real, because you know who you are. It's time to step out from behind the shade. Shine, radiate. I love it. Okay, so if someone you think might need to hear this. Please share it with them. See ya. Have a wonderful week.